I'm joined by Christoph Franz, the chairman of Roche. Welcome. It's your 15th WEF, you just told me, so it's a kind of an anniversary for you. How important is the forum for you?
It's a pleasure to be here, Joris. For me, the forum is a fixed annual event where I start the year to get some insight about what is the mood of the global economy, where are threats I should be very sensitive to, where are maybe also opportunities, and it's always a good start in the year.
Speaking of that mood, when we turn back the clock 12 months, last year was quite optimistic. Yes, there were talks about possible protectionism risks and the role of President Trump and the role of the US, but the general mood was very optimistic. Now a lot of people claim it's the complete opposite. 2019 is a little bit marked by pessimism. Would you agree that this is the main focus this year, that the mood isn't as positive as last year?
Yeah, I would agree if you phrase it as you did. It is less optimistic, but I think we should be all aware that the global economy still is doing strong, maybe a little bit less strong than last year. The decisive difference is that there are a lot of individual elements, the Chinese-US trade war, Brexit, European elections upcoming, creating uncertainty. You might also say some risks for the development of the global economy in the framework of 2019.
Mm-hmm. When we take one of those risks, which is the Brexit, does that have an influence, an impact on Roche as well? Because we hear a lot of stories at the moment, people piling up, stocking up their drugs as well, their medicines as well, that if no-deal Brexit should be on the table, that there might be issues with people not having access to medicine, for example. Is Roche having a plan in that regard? Are you I don't know, talking about a possible issue there?
It's not only about talking. We have implemented a plan making sure that all patients in the United Kingdom will have access to our life-saving medicines in any scenario of Brexit. So basically we piled up some of the medicines.
But do you see a risk there?
No, we have prepared ourselves and that's fine.
When we take one of those challenges of the moment, the Brexit, for example, what kind of impact does it have on you, on Roche? Because we hear stories from the UK of patients piling up, stocking up their medicine, for example. Is there a risk of them not getting the drugs they need because of no-deal Brexit?
It is clearly our most important focus right now to prepare ourselves in a sense that under any kind of Brexit scenario, the access to our life-saving medicines for patients in the United Kingdom is safeguarded. And we have already undertaken, planned and implemented the necessary piling up of our stocks. I think that's not the job of the patient, that is our responsibility, and we are committed to fulfilling this responsibility as we should.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Roche and what's to come, 2019 is a crucial year for you. Would you agree that it's you're in full transition? A lot of important patents are being off the table, so you kind of have to reinvent yourself. Are you worried for 2019?
No, I'm not worried about it because we already know that this transition of our portfolio of medicines has started in 2018, even in the end of 2017. And the fact that our company has been able to grow nicely, even in this time of transition of portfolio, shows that our capability of replacing innovation without patent by new innovation with new medicines is something where we really have strength, and that is giving us the confidence for 2019, 2021, for the next years to come, to be able to show a sustained growth even in times of portfolio transition.
However, the situation that I think it's the three bestsellers that all at the same time, which make about 40% of the revenue of Roche, are being taken off in a way, and you don't enjoy that pattern anymore. It is an unusual situation, no?
Absolutely. This is the biggest transformation in our portfolio which we've ever seen as a company. But at the other side, we have seen approval of 8 new medicines in the last 3 years, and they have had an excellent take-up. For example, our medicine against multiple sclerosis, Ocrevus, has seen the fastest access to patients we have seen for any medicine of Roche. And we have, on top of that, 17 new medicines in the late stage of our clinical trials, so we are confident that some of them at least will come to patients in the next years to come, and this is giving us the capability to be able to replace the erosion of some of the older medicines by really new medicines.
So that famous pipeline is filled enough for the chairman?
We are strong and we have probably one of the strongest, if not the strongest pipeline of the whole industry.
Am I wrong in saying that you also shift a little bit the business model, maybe from pharma to a little bit more to tech? You bought a company which is dealing with e-health, for example, which is doing a software. Are you shifting a little bit also to kind of maybe position yourself a little bit differently?
Essentially, we are continuing to focus on our strategy to make personalized healthcare become a reality. In the past, it was essentially by creating so-called companion diagnostics to identify patients where our medicines are working best. Now we are also using the means of the digital worlds to do the same thing. So we are complementing our capabilities by using the means of the digital world in order to create new insight and thus help our existing business.
You've been very, you were famous in being vocal when it comes to political questions as well. When it comes to the position of Switzerland, also of the Swiss business place here. When I ask you about the state of the situation between Switzerland and the EU, where do you see things going in 2019? There's the famous framework agreement that's still in the air. Are you confident that we will find and see a solution there soon?
I think it is important, at least for the business world, to have uninterrupted, good access to our most important market. This is the EU market, and this obviously could be safeguarded by signing the existing draft of a framework agreement. I know there is discussion in Switzerland ongoing whether we should have an additional negotiation. I personally am skeptical. I'm skeptical if the EU has a room for maneuver to substantially alter the existing framework agreement draft, because it will always be guided by the question whether a certain element in the agreement isn't creating an unintended example for negotiations ongoing with the United Kingdom or other countries inside the EU which might have an interest to follow the United Kingdom. So in that sense, the room for discussion and negotiation of the EU is more limited than some people here in Switzerland believe is what I think, and that's also the reason why I would favor to sign the existing agreement draft.
Do you almost have two hearts within you? I mean, you're a born German, but you've been in Switzerland for so long. Do you see both sides? Do you see both arguments? For example, when the EU is saying, that Switzerland might be cherry picking whenever it wants, maybe it has to give as well. Do you see those arguments on both sides?
No, I think there is an interest, as in any negotiation, of both parties. And it is the role of the negotiation to find a fair and balanced compromise. And in this sense, I do not see that we have totally unbalanced outcomes. And that is the reason why I would favor to stabilize the framework for doing business with the EU in the interest of the whole Swiss economy.
Mm-hmm. And in the interest of Roche as well, of course. And you're a family business, you're based in Basel. You've been quoted by saying it might become more difficult if the political framework isn't what it should be. We might be a little bit more international still, but you can reassure us that Roche will stay in Basel, will stay in Switzerland for the years to come.
I can reassure you that we are a Swiss company with Swiss roots and we stay in Switzerland.
Christoph Franz, thank you very much.
Thank you, Us.